Hi everyone, it's Dutch Reefer here and welcome to this new reef update. So today I want to tell you a couple of things. First of all, I want to show you two new fish that I acquired this week, last week actually. And after that I'll give you a brief update on the Nano progress. And that's mainly it for today. So, as discussed in my previous video, I did decide that for now to keep the big tank running. Reasons are that I really enjoy the fish in here, even though there's not a lot of corals left in there, which I'm fine with actually. It actually creates a bit more peace of mind, knowing that there's no precious, expensive coral in there. Being either torn apart by some of my fish or dying from an abundance of phosphates and nitrates, nutrients. So everything can settle in now. Let's see the reef mature over the coming months, year. Let's see what happens. So because I want to keep things spicy and nice to look at, I bought two new fish this week, like I mentioned earlier. Two fish that I got from a fellow reefer who was quitting. I actually went there to get one fish, but ended up getting the other as well. So the reason I went there is to get the parrot fish, which you can see right here. It's a koyoi. It's also called the green parrotfish, although with this video image it looks more blue. I see that it messes around with the color of the camera. Nevertheless, this is normally it's a beautifully colored fish with a lot of various colors. So despite being called the green parrotfish, it also has a lot of hints of pink and yellow and purple and also a bit of green. So these are very calm fish. To keep. As you can see, they are bulky, very bulky, especially when it's swimming towards you. You might see it. You can see that it's very thick. They are beautiful fish to look at, since they are just scouring the reef, taking nibbles at whatever they want. So either the ceramic back of the tank or some of the rocks that it's picking. And when it does, you can actually hear it nibbling on the on whatever it's nibbling on, especially if it's the back wall of the tank. Then you can hear a tick 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 noise whenever it's sharpening its teeth, its beak. So that's a really nice addition. I'm really happy with it. And the second one is this tang that has been in front of the camera this whole time, which is a Convict tang. You don't see them a lot here in the Netherlands. So when I went there to get the parrotfish, and he said he was selling this one as well, and he nearly gave it away for free. So I said, well, what's the catch? They can be quite pesky and bullies, but in his tank it wasn't. I'm sure that's no guarantee, because I know I've seen fish showing a whole different side of themselves just from moving from tank to tank. So it wasn't an assurance, but I tried it anyway. I thought I could always catch it, trying to get it out again if it doesn't work with my other tangs, especially since they can be quite aggressive towards other tangs. But actually, for now, it's been in there for about 5-6 days now, and it's been doing wonderfully well. So it's very active. As you can see, it's also very thin. So you can see it's I'm not sure if it's its spine, but it's that's what I would call it, through the middle of its body. And that's usually a case of a fish that needs some extra food. So that's what I've been giving it. As you can see, it's nibbling on the mastic right now. It basically eats everything you throw at it. So I've a number of times already I've added some Caulerpa taxifolia, which is in my refugium, which I'm using to lower my nitrates and phosphates. But it's also a good food for herbivores like these tangs like the rabbit fish, the fox face that's behind it. But even the parrotfish likes to have some kaularpa now and then. So I'm actually really happy with this fish. It might look a bit simple, but I really like the way its body reflects the light. It's actually it's a white color, but more like a fluorescent pearly white, which really gives a nice view to this fish when you watch it. And also the yellow dorsal fin, that's also a really nice touch. It's a bit yellow on its back. So actually pretty happy with these two new additions to the tank. Yeah, so let's see how well they get along with the other tank mates. For now, as you can see, they're pretty friendly towards each other, not chasing each other, not hunting, and yeah, really happy that I was able to get these two fish, and hopefully get them nice and bulky in this tank. So let's give one last look at the parrotfish and then move on to the nano. You can see it's really such a beautiful fish. It's all being cleaned by the cleaner res, and it's really a big unit. By the way, they are considered somewhat reef safe. They can nibble at usually they nibble at rocks and dead coral. Of course, when it can't help itself, it might give a nibble at your live coral, but usually it won't. I haven't caught it yet eating on live coral, just eating away at the rocks and cleaning the pumps and whatnot. So for now it's behaving like a model citizen, and yeah, really enjoying this beautiful fish. I'm glad that I got it on camera in its true colors for you to see. Only consider this fish when you have a big tank, so I'd say over 800 liters, since it needs quite some space to be able to move around. So moving on, let's move to the living room where the nano is. So as you can see, the nano is still in setup mode, so the lights are still pretty blue. I like to keep them a little bit more blue anyway in this tank, since it's in the living room and there's mainly very fluorescent corals in this tank. Of course, there's two clownfish in here as well. As I've shown, I think in the last video, they were already in here as well. So to give you an update, they're doing well. They are healthy. I took their old coral, their home coral, with them when I migrated them to this tank. So they have been in there since day one and not moved a bit since, except when feeding. And they move around the tank a little bit, but even though this is a small tank, that's their territory, so that's where they'll stay. I did make some small changes, not a lot, so as you can see, it's mainly the same as last time I showed you. The corals are doing actually fine. This coral right here is actually one that Goniopora that had already withered in my previous tank, in the big tank. So I'm trying to give it like a revival shot in this tank. I'm not sure if it will work, since this is a fairly new tank that needs to still settle in. So it might die anyway, but it was dying in the other tank, so I thought let's give it a shot. So the big leathery coral, the soft coral that you can see right here, is also on the recovering side. It was covered with algae all over when I put it in here, and now you can see there's just a few bits and pieces left of algae, but on the bottom you can already see that the polyps are extending again, so that's recovering well. So that's great. Added a few new corals, so I broke off a bit of the red plate that you can see right here. Added that yesterday just to see how it grows in this new tank. actually the little crab right here. It's underneath one of the rock anemones. As you can see, it's filtering away. I think it's called an emerald crab, if I'm correct. I might be wrong. And it's filtering the water, looking for small bits and pieces of food. It's really enjoyable to watch. Sometimes it's on top of the anemone, sometimes it's underneath, but all the time searching for food actively. So that's a nice touch. Other corals are doing well. The only one I'm a bit concerned about is this Trachyphilia. It shows a little bit signs of stress, so I'm just going to keep watching it, and if it keeps doing this, then I might move it back to the other tank to recover, if that works. So these Zoanthus are doing great actually, so I really like these ones. The Calastrea, the Ricordea, the Duncans, the Favia. Actually, most of the corals in this tank are doing pretty well. Last one I want to show you is this Turbinaria, which came from my old tank, so there's still a big chunk left in the big tank. I broke off a piece to let it grow here, and as you can see, it's doing wonderfully well. So yeah, in the end, I'm really happy that I chose to split up my tanks. So a fish tank and a coral tank. Just this beautiful display of corals for the living room, and then the big tank in my well, let's call it an office for the big fish to have a blast. So that's the reef update that I wanted to give you today. I'm not sure when the next one will be, but stay tuned. And for now, stay safe, stay inside if you can, and have a great Easter. See you next time. Bye bye.